What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to 2024. I am so glad that you guys can make it. 2023 was a lot. As you can see from my old videos, a lot of things happened. Last time I left you guys was Halloween, which, by the way, let me know if you guys like those Halloween stories, because I don't really know where it came from. It came out of nowhere. I woke up and I was popped in my head, and I feel like there's a lot more where that came from. So let me know if you guys liked them, or if you didn't, I might just keep on doing that for Halloween. That might be like a Halloween tradition to look forward to. So that could be a lot of fun. Speaking of stories, speaking of tales, 2023 had a lot of them. And by that I mean movies. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I review them. I've been reviewing them. So I'm thinking maybe I might do a mass review of 2023 in the media that it pumped out. Does that sound good to you guys?
No.
Okay, yeah, that overall sounds like a yes. I heard a couple no's. Shut up. Okay, so what I got is I pulled up Letterboxd, and I'm gonna go over all things released in 2023, and I'm just gonna kind of review them. Cool if we just start the video? Okay, let's go. Let's just go from best to worst, because my only 5-star here is not a shocker. It's Across the Spider-Verse. Great film. Absolutely loved it. You know the deal. You saw the review. We can just keep going because no need to stop for that one. You guys could go watch the other video of my more in-depth review. So in the 4.5-star spots, I have Oppenheimer, American Fiction, They Clone Tyrone, Rye Lane, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie, and Knock at the Cabin. Okay, so let me break down very briefly each one. Oppenheimer, I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, this one I actually debated between 4 stars and 4.5 stars, because for me, 4 stars is like just a solid, very good movie, and 4.5 is above and beyond, and 5 stars like this blew my mind. So, but I gave Oppenheimer the half star into above and beyond clearly because there is a language barrier, right, in this film, and that is science. There's a lot of times you're watching this film and you're like, yeah, no, yeah, I get you. Not for real, yeah. No, you know what's going on. That's fine. But the cool part about this film is that it understands that it shows you the language of emotions and ethics above science. So even if you don't really know scientifically what's going on, you know ethically what's going on. You know what's going on in Oppenheimer's head. You know what's cooking. And you don't need to know science when the bomb drops. Spoiler alert, right? Also the Titanic sinks. You don't need to really know scientifically what happened. You just know that he killed an insane amount of people at the very end of the movie, right? You don't even see the bomb go off. You don't really see what happens over there. You just see his horrid imagination of how it goes on, and it's amazing. It's just like a really hard pit of despair and guilt that you feel in your gut as an audience member, and it's tough. It's a really tough thing to get through. So yeah, that's why I got it above and beyond. Next is American Fiction. Great film on how the media only wants certain black trauma films, which I'm just over it, right? I can't keep watching a 12 Years a Slave movie. I can't keep watching black people getting killed by cops. I can't keep doing it, dude. Like, we just keep making these movies, but at some point, where's the joy, right? When am I gonna be a freaking pirate? Like, can we just all just chill out for a second? So that was an exhausting film. Well, because the whole thing is about our main character Theo upset over the fact that his books are not being read. It's being overlooked by more tales of despair and drug dealing and criminal and police brutality, and it's a lot, right? And so he gets upset. He writes a fake story under an alias, and of course they love it, right? A fake story of just gang members and shootings and whatnot. And then he's like, come on. However, he has his own familial deal going on in the background, so he needs the money, and that's the main thing. And that's what I really loved about this film is the way that it critiqued the way that we pigeonhole black stories to just trauma and we don't say any other stories, while simultaneously showing us the story of Theo and showing that we can be interested in stories of black characters that aren't just filled with racial trauma specifically. Because his story is sad, but we want sad, complex stories. We want sad, complex characters, not just, oh, guess what? Shot. Guess what? Arrested. Guess what? Drugs. Like, I'm just like, ah, my God, what are we doing? Slave. Like, what is going on, dude? How are we gonna keep telling the same story? I can't do it. I can't keep watching that. So that's what I really liked about American Fiction, is poking fun at things like that, and while giving us a black story that's very intriguing. Theo and his family dynamic is fantastic, with Tracy Ellis Ross and Sterling K. Brown. It's great stuff. So I really loved it. So, but while going hand in hand with black trauma, and this is gonna sound like it's almost hypocritical, but just hear me out, okay? So They Clone Tyrone, a film about a man named Fontaine who's selling drugs, goes awry, gets killed, and he realizes he's a part of a bigger conspiracy, right? You're just like, Steven, what did you just say? What was it about drug dealing and shootings? Just please hear me out, okay? And I'm gonna need to give you guys a spoiler, because if you guys haven't seen this film, go watch it. I think you'll understand what I'm saying. You can come back and hear my explanation and you'll understand. But spoiler alert, right? The whole film is about, there's a shadow government under their neighborhood trying to control them. They're cloning these people in society, like drug dealers, pimps, and whatnot, to keep this neighborhood down so that they don't go on and overcome certain things, right? Overcome and get too high in society. And of course you would say, like, okay, that still sounds like a trauma story. What I actually enjoyed about this was that, again, spoiler, Fontaine, he's a drug dealer, and he's told that he was only cloned to continue to keep his community down. And I feel like what it does is, it points, they say point one finger, you got three fingers pointing right back at you. 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? And I think what it is we're pointing towards this government. We're pointing towards these higher powers, because we always talk about war on drugs and how drugs are pushed into lower income neighborhoods, and the government trying to keep certain communities, and specifically in this case black communities, down so they could keep them dormant, right? We're pointing a finger at that in this film, right? We're telling them, like, hey, we know what you're doing. We know what you do to our products. We know what your tactics. However, it is pointing back to the fact that we show Fontaine's like, hey, Fontaine wakes up when he's, metaphorically, he realizes, like, I'm keeping the community down. This is what I'm made to do. Same for the pimp played by Jamie Foxx. He learns that he's keeping the community down. And so it's kind of like okay, we could keep blaming this government, we can keep blaming these people, but at the same time, what are we going to do about it? We have the power here, and you see that they take the power back at the end of this film, and we see how they rise up on their own, and that's kind of a tale of empowerment for me, and and I think that's what I loved about it, because again, American Fiction argues about, hey, like, why do we keep telling these stories in the hood and all this stuff, but for They Clone Tyrone, we tell a story in the hood, but instead it's still kind of whimsical in its weird sci-fi ways. It's still creative, and it shows a rising up. And I feel like this film flies under my radar as something that goes like, oh my God, like another trauma. I liked it. I actually loved it. So that's what I thought about this film. Now we can successfully get out of the black trauma, right? Let's get out of there, and let's talk about Rye Lane. Now, Rye Lane is my perfect example of just the opposite, right? American Fiction and They Clone Tyrone, you're just thinking about, they're both racial issues, right? But Rye Lane is just a beautiful story of just two people, how they get together. It's campy, it's quirky. It's almost like watching an animated film, but with live people. It has like such a crazy cartoonish directing style and editing choices that was fantastic. And the characters happen to be black. It's not a story about them being black. They just so happen to be black, and I loved it. Right? I feel like you get a lot of just good rom-coms about two black characters, and it's just them being people. And I there's not much to say about it. Right? It's just so cute. It's a cute movie. So I suggested, it's January. We're coming up towards halfway through January. Hold off on watching it. Wait till Valentine's Day. Watch that, and you'll see what I mean. It's fantastic. Great stuff. Next up, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. It's so funny because when I first read the title, way back when it was released, I was just like, that sounds kind of goofy. That sounds like that's a long title. I don't know how I feel about that. But, man, when I saw this, I was in love. It's so good. Like, I felt like, obviously I wanted Across the Spider-Verse to win awards. If it wasn't that, it was TMNT, easily. Because, shockingly enough, how is this the first time we're getting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles voiced by teenagers? Like, come on. And the way that they were voiced, the way that they were written was hilarious. They actually sounded like teenagers of this day, without it sounding like old people wrote those lines. Like they managed to use the words like Riz and all this other current slang that I don't use, but teenagers are using, but it works because they sound like teenagers. It's just so funny, so stupid. I just find myself laughing so hard during this movie. I get to keep rewatching it, and also I added it to my list, my art book list. I had to because it's great. So I highly recommend it. Also, the soundtrack, insane. You're gonna lose it. It's great stuff. I promise you. And last up in my 4.5-star reviews, we got Knock at the Cabin Door. This one was shocking to me because directed by M. Night Shyamalan, I'm a little bit, you know what I mean? Because obviously we have the travesty of Last Airbender. I loved Unbreakable. I loved Split. And then all of a sudden he dropped Glass, and I was like, whoa, ooh, we were almost hitting, but it just fell flat. But Knock at the Cabin, he came back around and he hit it hard. And it was very, how do I explain this? Just dreadful. It's a dreadful experience all the way through. A real pit in your stomach the entire time. Especially if the apocalypse scares you. That's what that is. And it's done so well. And Dave Bautista, he kills it. He absolutely kills it. Let me just quick synopsis. It's about these parents, two parents and their daughter, sitting in the cabin, and all of a sudden, shockingly enough, knock at the cabin. Dave Bautista pulls up with the 3 other horsemen there, the 4 horsemen, and they're saying, you guys need to figure out who to sacrifice or else the apocalypse is coming. And they got to figure out which one they're going to kill. Obviously, the dads aren't going to pick the daughter, so it's the 2 dads not arguing, but deciding whether or not they're even going to entertain this. And it's just, oh my God. It's a movie that I haven't even gotten back to rewatching again, because I'm just like, it's just really dreadful, like I said. But I recommend it. If you feel like not being in a good mood, it's one of those. But above and beyond its way of really instilling this pressure on you as you're sitting in the audience, the movie just flies by because you're sitting there like, oh my God, the clock is ticking and you're freaking out. You know what I mean? I'm getting anxious just thinking about it. I'm rubbing my legs. Woo! Okay. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next category of 4 stars. There are only 5 4-star movies, and they are the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Elemental, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Creed 3, Missing, and that's it. I actually gave you guys the Mario movie review, so let's just keep moving past that. Loved it. It's a simple, good time. And that's what really 4 stars for me is simple, good times for me. Same for Elemental. Elemental, oh my God, I'm just so angry with the marketing team because it's marketed as such a I'm fire and you're water. We'll never work. Isn't that crazy? Come on. Guys, it's not that movie at all. It is a brilliant immigrant story of the the trials and tribulations of what it's like immigrating to a new city that you don't feel like you belong in, but you still thrive. You make a store and you build a family. And it's beautiful. And they really buried the lead there. Um you also do you get such a touching love story between two people that, again, a daughter of somebody who has to really just work very hard, and so she gets that pressure on herself with someone, a water guy, Wade. Wade isn't understanding because he's kind of a rich kid, right? Like he's been there his whole time. He's accepted. He doesn't really have to work hard. He does work hard. He's a hard worker. I know he is. He's a great inspector, I'm sure, but things are good for him. And that's the issue here. This is why Ember and Wade, that's the reason why they don't mix. It's not about the fire and water. It's a whole other thing. And it's so frustrating. But it's so cute. It makes you tear up a little bit. It's sweet. It's a great movie. So I highly recommend it. I understand why you didn't, because I was going to pass on it for the longest time from the trailers. It just, to me, looked like I was like I've played Fireboy and Water Girl. I've played it for a while now, so I really don't need to see this movie, okay? But it's highly recommended. Next up is Guardians 3, my favorite of the Guardians movies. This one just came out of the woodworks, just shooting. I was like, what is going on here? Because Rocket's my favorite of them all. And I was very happy to see a very Rocket-heavy film. And, oof, probably some of the best Marvel movies that's been coming out recently. I haven't seen the new Marvels movie, but when it comes to the movies, like that one, Black Panther 2, Shang-Chi, that's some of the best we've gotten in a while. It's just heartfelt, it's sad, it's still comical. They really found their leveling with Drax. Shout out to Dave Bautista again. They really found their leveling with Drax here, because I felt like in the first movie he was very serious. Clearly he loosens up in 2. I mean, he found his family again, but it was too comical. It was like he was too much of an idiot. In this one, they found that perfect middle ground, and it was fantastic. Yeah, this is great. This is a great one. So again, definitely recommend that if you're looking for a good Marvel movie. Next up is Creed 3, my workout motivation. And check this out, right? Nothing's changed. I watch Creed 3, I get amped up, and then I do nothing about it. Creed 3 was great. The Creed movies in general are just the Rocky movies. I love the Rocky verse, the Rocky and Creed movies. They're really good movies. And Creed 3 was definitely one of those films that I think it's hard. I think if I had to rank the 3 Creed movies, I would go, I think Creed 2, then 1, then 3. 3 is technically my least favorite, but still a good movie. Jonathan Majors is a really great actor, as I've explained before. Just despite whatever's going on right now, he's great. And yeah, what more to say than watching them punch was awesome. And Michael B. Jordan is you can just really see how big of an anime nerd he is in this film. The way he edits things, it's at a certain point just you're watching an anime. It's almost like Rylane at a certain point where it's like I'm watching something animated with live action people in it. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's great. And then there's Missing. I think I briefly talked about this in another video, but Missing is the follow-up of Searching, and Searching was awesome. I think Searching was really good stuff, and Missing did a really good job at trying to follow up with that without trying to beat it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard. How do you follow something that did so well, but at the same time not try to look like I'm trying to be them? And I think that they did a really good job at just major suspense, just while you're just staring at a screen the whole time. How do you get suspense without really moving. It feels like the camera doesn't move. You're just always on a screen, but it does a great job at keeping the suspense moving, keep it pumping, keep it just, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so yeah, that's it for my 4-star movies. We're almost through the list, guys. So bear with me, okay? Because it's gonna go a little bit faster than this. 3.5-star movies. Six 3.5-star movies. There's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, Dream Scenario, No One Will Save You, Blue Beetle, and the Barbie movie. These are still pretty good movies. I would say pretty good. Okay, Five Nights at Freddy. Never played the game once in my life, but I enjoyed it. I actually really did. Shockingly enough. Also, huge shout out to the puppet masters over here, the ones who made these animatronics. They look so good, like straight from the games. So we are in the age of really killing it with these video games to movies adaptations. I feel like whenever they used to come out, just expect a flop. Like, no one saw the Tomb Raider movie. Uncharted was like, I heard nothing after it came out. Obviously, the original Super Mario movie was critically panned, but this, we're in the age, man, because this one was good. It was pretty good. I actually really liked it. Josh Hutcherson does a really good job, and it was really cool to show how much appreciation this movie showed for the YouTubers that made the game so popular. We got Game Theory in there, Corey Kenshin. It sucks to see that Markiplier wasn't in there. I read an article about as to why he wasn't. So it was unfortunate, but at least I know that they tried for him, because I think that was very important. It would have been really cool to get the trifecta of Five Nights at Freddy lore kings in there. But yeah, it was super cool how it was made. Huge props. Next was Dream Scenario. Now this one, I'm not gonna lie, slightly disappointed, because when I saw the trailer, I was enamored. It's Nicolas Cage as a professor who is living a mundane life, but all of a sudden, everybody around him's like, I saw you in my dreams. Why were you in my dreams? That's so weird. And at first it's kind of quirky, but then it just gets out of control. And it just rises and rises. He keeps rising to fame. Everyone around the world is seeing him. And it's such a weird movie. And I loved it. But I feel like towards the end, it started to, like, you know when you ride a motorcycle or a bike. I had never ridden a motorcycle. But you ride a bike and you go so fast, you're feeling that little wobbling type deal. That's what the movie started doing, where it was really just killing it, and then it started shaking a bit, and it didn't really, and it still stuck its landing in a sense, but not in the best way that it could have. It kind of landed in a bush for me, rather than, you know, cool Akira slide kickstand up type deal. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But I still recommend it. I still say watch it and come up with your own conclusions. But yeah, I wasn't in love with it the way I wanted to be. Like, I was already in love with it in the trailers. And that's such a unfortunate feeling, but it's kind of on me for having such a crazy high expectations, but it is what it is. No One Will Save You. I heard a lot of talk about this. I was very intrigued by it. And then it was pretty good. The suspense is really cool. I love film that get a little experimental. This one didn't really have a lot of talking in it. I thought that was really awesome how they had just like no dialogue whatsoever. Yeah, so I just thought that was really cool. They did that. The aliens design was creepy. It was a lot of creepy moments in there, but it was just like a simple horror for me, but it was a fun time. Same for Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, it's just a simple, fun horror. That's as much horror of a movie that I like to see, because sometimes it's hard for me to, you know, be a man. Yeah, I get scared very easily. But these were kind of like campy horrors, which I enjoyed. The ending was weird. Again, don't really know how I felt about that one, but again, watch it for yourself. It's on Hulu. Check it out. But yeah. Next up, we have Blue Beetle. Guys, it drove me crazy how not well Blue Beetle did, when in reality, the movie goes crazy. It's a good, just fun superhero movie. I really enjoyed it. It's just so much fun. It's kind of like watching Shazam, or maybe like Spy Kids with all the gadgets that you see later on in the film. Like, I really just enjoyed. I just enjoyed the fun nature of it. It was funny. I laughed a couple times. I wasn't expecting it because I'm not really a DC film guy. I feel like a lot of them fall flat for me. But this one was hidden. This one was doing really well. But Flash did better. Are we sure? I didn't even see Flash. I'm not gonna lie. It's not even on this list. But are we sure? Flash did better. Come on now. Blue Beetle was really good. Really good for a DC film. You know what I'm saying? Like not really like better than anything higher on this list, but really good. You know. And next was the Barbie movie. Barbie movie, I actually really liked it. The only reason why it's at 3.5 and not like 4 is that there were certain times where again it's kind of like again the bike thing I said with the dream scenario where at sometimes it shook a little bit, but overall like I it was really good. I saw that it won the Golden Globe. I think it deserved it. And the comedy is great. Margot Robbie is great. Of course, Ryan Gosling is, he's very funny. One thing I loved about it is how unserious it is. Like some of the most just ridiculous thing that goes on. It's like a child paced this film. You get what I'm saying? Like a child, made them go through all these crazy wormholes. Will Ferrell's character, which quick fan theory, Will Ferrell is a Ken doll, I think. I know some people say he was an Alan, because, the Michael Cera Alan said that all the other Allens left, and I think he's one of them. I think he's a Ken. I think he's a Ken that slipped out with the Allens and decided to run Mattel. That's just my opinion. But yeah, no, it's this is such a fun time. But of course, the message itself is it's great too. One thing I loved about it is that I think one thing is that one misconception you say is like, oh, this is a movie just for women. I still enjoyed it. My girlfriend enjoyed it, and I think it is directed towards the woman experience. Absolutely, I think that there are some great messages on being yourself and just being and not letting any man diminish your experience as being a woman. You should love being a woman, and I completely agree with that. But I love the ending of the film because it almost went further to just enjoying this human experience, almost kind of like Pixar's Soul, like where it's just really just like, ooh, this is what it's like being a human, and I really enjoyed that too. But yeah, so I just think the whole message itself for women, for people in general, because I feel like I got something from it, just from that ending specifically. But overall, it's a great movie on just just living, and not letting other people tell you how to dress, how to do this, and just there's a lot more to being human than what other people say it is. And I think you need to find your own reasonings and enjoy life yourself. You get what I'm saying? So really good stuff. Whoa. There's a mistake here. I forgot to say one last 3.5 star movie, and that was Beau is Afraid. Beau is Afraid, very similar to Dream Scenario. That's why they're rated the same. Something where I was really excited for, another Ari Aster, which Ari Aster was a part of both Dream Scenario and Beau is Afraid. It was just two Ari Aster pieces that he was involved in that I found myself very excited for because of his name was attached, and it kind of fell flat a little bit. Since I loved Midsommar and Hereditary. Granted, I'm not going to ask for the same movies over and over again. We can't ask for the same two types of stuff. But anyway, Beau is Afraid. I was really excited about it. And overall, I knew that wasn't going to be like a horror. And I enjoyed that. I was glad that we were trying something new here. It's this ridiculous existential issue of being this hypochondriac, a slightly agoraphobic man, and just a Beau, and how his life was tailored to become this way. And it's like a tale of how parents can create these disastrous versions of your child. So it was very interesting how your parents are your first line of defense of your brain on how tough or just how you handle the world around you. And the message was very interesting, but again, another bike analogy, got a wobbly at the end. It was kind of wobbly, fell in the bush, and I was like, okay. The ending was a little odd. Not that I'm not okay with odd, but it lost me a bit, just a little bit. It got me back at the very ending, but there were certain things that led up to it that just was, I don't know if I was feeling it, but it's fine, because it was still good. I would still classify it as good, just not great. Yeah, so that's my complete list of 3.5. Now we're getting to the last 4 films, each one of them with a different rating. So now let's go at 3 stars. I had Quantumania, and honestly, as I'm looking at this list, it might be a little bit too high. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep it at 3 stars because again, there's another shout out to Jonathan Majors and his acting performance. He saves that movie so hard. It is literally just Kang the movie, and we have little other side things going on. I still like some of the parts. Like I love the scene with Ant-Man, and he's spoiler. All of the Ant-Man variants of Paul Rudd were all helping him climb to save his daughter. Very cute. The issue is I didn't care about his daughter. His daughter Casey. Sorry, is it Casey or Cassie? I don't care. I just kind of found her annoying, man. I found her annoying. Her character was a bit of a pain in the ant, in the thorax. That's even better. You guys can keep those for yourself if you want to use those jokes at a party. Yeah, I just wasn't really a huge fan of her and the dynamic. All the other characters were fine. It was just Kang the movie, like I said. So I can't really recommend a movie that I only watch for a certain character. While I'm editing, I'm realizing this is a 2-star movie. You ever just stop and rethink about something you said and went, man, maybe you didn't like it as much as you thought you did? I don't think I really liked that movie. I think I just like Kang. So I think I'm just gonna move it to a 2. If you check my Letterboxd now, it's at a 2-star, and I think that's right. That feels good in my soul. Okay, let's just hop right back to the video, and just know that this movie's actually at a 2-star. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not Marvel's greatest. Anywho, moving on. Now we're getting to 2.5. 2.5 is like middle of the road. You know, obviously 2.5 of 5. That's halfway through. It was Leo with Adam Sandler, the animated lizard movie. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good per se. Like it was like there's some good laughs in there and it's cute, but it just there's certain jokes that are kind of like okay, like it's fine. Some just don't land like the way they really should. There's another 2.5 here too. It's Nimona. Guys, and I know. I feel like people are gonna really get on me for that. People are gonna get me off for Nimona, and I just wasn't in love with. I just felt like it was only okay. The animation was really good. Like it was good. But I guess the humor didn't really hit for me, right? And especially the ending. This is gonna sound horrible. Spoiler alert. I think she should have stayed. I feel like that would have been impacted a little bit more, and it almost felt like I'm just kind of watching Iron Giant, but not as good. I'm like, Iron Giant. I'm glad he lived, but I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, sorry. That's rough. I get it. Yeah, I wasn't in love with the movie. And it also doesn't help I was expecting more because of how much hype was a part of it, but I just thought it was okay. And last but not least, my least favorite movie of 2023, at a 1.5 stars, was Family Switch with Jennifer Garner and Ed Helms. Just wasn't good. It wasn't good. You got a laugh here and there. That's why I gave it the half star over. Because, that's 2 points more. I could have gave it half a star, but I gave it 1.5 stars. A whole star more. Because there's some laughs. There's some decent laughs. Other than that, just watch Freaky Friday or 13 Going on 30. Watch those back to back. And get back to me. Because other than that, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, it just, well, what it really is just like, it's just not really good writing. Uh, Again, really, like, the comedy doesn't really hit like that at all, and it's just, some of it's just kind of annoying. Like, you're just kind of like, okay, wrap the movie up. Uh, but let me just wrap up this review up, because really, what's the more to say? I didn't like it. With that being said, that's my 22 films of 2023. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I did not think that this video was gonna be this long. Hopefully, it edits down pretty nicely, but just skip around, if you. But watch the whole thing. That's in order. Thank you guys all for watching this video. Thank you all for sticking around and coming to check out my channel. And like I said, I'm so glad you guys are here in 2024 to experience this. I hope you guys have a great year. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Have a great rest of your day, and again, rest of your year. Be safe, everybody. Bye.